we spoke a little bit about the keys to motivation. Of course, there's various keys to motivation. There's more than these. You may add some. But we're going to focus primarily on recognition. Because recognition is one of the things that you need in order to drive a workplace culture of collaboration and teamwork. So generally, a manager's task is to set objectives and then motivate their people to achieve those objectives. If a manager can do that, you got a pretty decent manager, right? But along the way, you want to be able to give recognition for the tasks that people are completing. And recognition is important, but if you can build peer-to-peer recognition, where instead of just the managers saying, hey, good job, you have the entire office celebrating together, congratulating each other, and aware of the progress and performance that's being made, you're well on your way to creating an outstanding company. So, who's familiar with these two? Sales bell and a whiteboard. They're in pretty much every sales office that I've ever been in because they work, right? And the reason that they work is because they're simple, effective, and they bring recognition to people who have completed tasks. If you make a sale, for instance, above 4,000 euro, maybe you get to go up to the front, you ring a bell, and people clap for you, right? And the whiteboard is kind of similar. You complete tasks, you mark them up on the board, and everyone can see who's in the lead. Or leaderboards, or whatever it is that you use. The problem is that a lot of times these start off as really good strategies, and then they kind of filter off and die. Now why? Because managers have a lot of stuff to do in the day. A lot of stuff. And so while recognition is important, it often kind of gets swept under the rug. And what happens over time is that as companies fail to recognize the achievements in the work that their employees are putting towards the bottom line goals of the company, the culture begins to deteriorate. And then what happens? You have a turnover. Turnover is expensive. You have a loss of culture, and generally you start to fade away as an organization. All right, what about these? Everybody here uses social media, right? Recognition. Yeah, whatever it was you had for dinner, or whatever mountain you climbed, or your 20-mile bike ride that you're going to put on Strava, or whatever it is. We're kind of fueled by recognition. We want people in this day and age to know what we're doing and to say, hey, nice job. Why? Because it feels good. Dopamine, right? It's a chemical reaction within your body. And what about these? Employee of the Month plaque and trophy. So when someone becomes an Employee of the Month, perhaps you write their name on the plaque, you hang it on the wall, and you're like, hey, good job. So all of these things have been around for some time. Social media, not in terms of digital social media, but that's all been there because people like to be recognized for the work that they do. Now the question is work boring? A lot of people, right, when we finish college or whatever and we enter the workforce, we're kind of like, shoot, right? The party's over, we got to join the workforce and do the 9 to 5, et cetera, et cetera. But does it have to be that way? Can you build a workforce of people who are motivated, excited, enthusiastic, and engaged about what they do? Maybe. Problem with work is that it's generally a bunch of repetitive tasks. You do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. If you're in sales or marketing or finance, whatever it is that your job happens to be, generally you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over. Why? Anybody know why?
Because they have to be done.
Because they have to be done. More importantly, it's efficient. It's specialization. If you hire me as a marketing guy, I will focus on all the marketing tasks. Now, if I start going over here and messing around with sales, and then maybe I'm over here and messing around with HR, it's not efficient, right? Because then it's just too much stuff. You want me to have one specific job that I specialize in and that I'm good at. So I do the same things over and over again, blog writing or sales or whatever it happens to be. Repetition builds mastery. And of course, mastery allows you to accomplish more quickly. However, the problem, of course, is repetition is boring. Repetition's boring. It is. Or as we like to say sometimes in regards to other software systems, data is gold, right? Analytics and data, the data is gold. But reporting is boring. Going into the CRM and log your stuff, and you're like, yeah, okay, but it's kind of dry and boring, right? But does it have to be that way? Not necessarily. What if you got small little pats on the back here and there, you know, for accomplishing your task? What if you could see in real time your measurement? You have 10 things to complete today, you know, make 10 phone calls or have 3 meetings face-to-face or whatever it happens to be. And you can see your progress as you go. You can see it in real time. It pops up. And you can create friendly competition around this, right? Because friendly competition is kind of the backbone of building a good organization. You want people who are invested in your culture, who have a strong sense of purpose, who understand their jobs, and who are a little bit competitive, just a little bit on the competitive side in a fun way, right? They're out there to get stuff done, and they want to be the best at it, and they want to do more than the other teams. Why not? All right, so why recognition? This slide is a little bit ugly, and I apologize. I never put this much text on a slide, but there's a first time for everything. So only 14% of organizations provide managers with the tools that they need to properly reward and recognize their people. It seems kind of like a problem, right? Only 14% of organizations are recognizing people properly? That's crazy. You know why it's crazy? Because these are the same organizations who spend thousands or millions of dollars on data entry systems and systems and systems and systems and systems and systems. But they don't spend money on people. They're not invested in the people. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? 41% of companies that use peer-to-peer recognition have seen positive increases in customer satisfaction. Why is that? Because if you build a culture where people are celebrating each other, they're happy, they're engaged, they're enthusiastic, do you think they're going to be better with the customers? Oh yeah. And if you're better with your customers, do you think your customers are going to stick around? Yeah. Who wants customers who stick around, right? Monthly recurring revenue and all that good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Companies with recognition programs that are highly effective in improving employee engagement have 31% lower voluntary turnover. 31% lower turnover. Now, let me help put this in perspective because maybe not everyone knows the cost of turnover. When you lose an employee, of course it depends on the role and the industry, et cetera. But on average, it costs approximately $35,000 to $40,000 US each time you lose an employee. Oh, gosh, that hurts. That hurts. Now, what if you could reduce the amount of turnover, save some of that money? Because it's expensive, right? You lose an employee, what do you have to do? You have to put another ad out in whatever outlets you use. You have to advertise it. You have to recruit. You have to go through the interview process. You have to hire them. You have to train them. And then usually for most jobs, it takes probably 6 months to a year before people are speeded up to progress and performing activity at a reasonable level, right? Because your first couple months at a company, you're still figuring out how the software works and what it is that you're doing and everything else. So turnover is extremely expensive. 50% of employees believe that being thanked by their managers not only improved their relationships, but also built trust with higher-ups. Trust. Trust important in an organization? Is there anybody who's willing to argue that trust is not important in an organization? Because if so, I'm going to go find your manager. No. So improving relationships and building trust. All right, 46% of senior managers view recognition programs as an investment. Aha, it's an investment. Interesting. Why would recognition programs be an investment instead of just an expense? You're investing in your people. Small quote that just came to mind. A friend sent me an image the other day, and it was 2 bosses. And they're sitting around a table having lunch, and there's a cartoon comic strip, and one of them had a bubble over his head, and it says, what if we invest in our people and they leave? And the other guy had a bubble over his head, and he said, well, what if we don't and they stay? Right? You got to invest. You got to do the right thing. Got to do the right thing. People will stick around. All right, and lastly, peer-to-peer is 35.5% more likely to have positive impact on financial results. Interesting. Financial results. Why is that? As we said, happier employees, happier customers. Happier customers, referrals. What's the most effective way to generate sales or generate new business? Is it advertising? Is it both? No. Word of mouth referral. You get happy customers, you're on the path to success. All right, we're going to talk briefly about the workforce as it stands today. By 2020, 46% of the global workforce will be millennials, those born between 1980 and 2000. So that includes you guys and you and me and not you. And all right. Yeah. And we hear, of course, a lot of different things about millennials. The millennials, right? There's some upsides supposedly and some downsides supposedly. But we need to understand what this demographic is and what this means for business. Because by 2025, 75% of your workforce will be millennials. 75%. You think you need to understand what motivates and drives these people? I would argue that you definitely do. All right. Millennials addicted to technology. Got a phone in their hands from time to time, taking photos. Millennials generally, this generation, from the time that they're small, have a device in their hands. Seriously, even the parents who are like, oh, I'm never going to let my kid play with a laptop or an iPad at the dinner table or whatever. It happens. Why? Technology. It's just everything is right there. All right? They're primarily motivated by recognition, not money. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a recent study by PwC. PwC did a Millennials in the Workplace engagement study. Now, why recognition and not money? That's crazy. Isn't money everything? You can't buy a house with recognition, can you? Put a down payment on a car. Oh, hey, but I've got recognition. Can I put a down payment on a car with it? No. Why is it important? This is a different generation because this is people who are driven by a sense of purpose. They want to know that they make a difference. And in order to know that they're making a difference, somebody's got to let them know, right? They desire strong company culture. It's very important for this generation to work in a company where they feel like they are a fabric intertwined with the organization itself. They need clearly defined goals and KPIs. That's common. That's not necessarily a millennial differentiator by any means. Everybody needs to know, okay, I'm here at work. What are my tasks? What do I need to get done today? Okay? I would imagine that a lot of people, if you don't have clearly defined goals in front of you, will spend at least half of your day, at least 4 hours of an 8-hour day, going, okay, now what do I do next? Now what do I do next? Now where's my inspiration to write the next blog, or where's my next whatever? But if you know, oh, I've got to achieve this many phone calls, this many face-to-face meetings, this many whatever, then I'm on track. Expect real-time data and results. This is definitely one that is changing. Now, in general, people want to be recognized in real time. Why? Because it's important. If somebody does something nice for me, right, and then I don't say anything or whatever, and then 2 weeks later we happen to pass ways on the street as I walk by, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, thanks for that nice thing you did. He's like, huh? What? Real-time recognition is important because it highlights the specific behavior that's been done, and it's nice to feel, oh, congratulations, well done. All right, and of course, millennials thrive with coaching and mentorship. They love feedback, want to understand exactly how I'm doing and what I can do to be even better at it. A primary driver for this generation is, of course, professional development. They want to work their way up through the workforce, become the boss, everything like that. So doesn't necessarily differentiate themselves, but it's important to understand. Now we're going to talk a little bit about recognition. So a manager's job, as I said, is to set and measure targets. As a manager, I need to know what it is that I need you to do, right? Because if I can't tell you what it is that needs done, it's not management, right? And the second part of it, I can tell you what needs done and kind of bully into it and force it, but do you think you're going to stick around with my organization very long? Probably not. But what if I'm a friendly guy? I clearly define your objectives for you. I tell you what needs done. And then I motivate you. I lead from the front, get you to do them. Makes a bit of a difference, I would say. And it will definitely go a long way in building the proper culture that you want to have. The employees, what's their task? To achieve the goals set for them, generally speaking. If there are clearly defined goals, right? Management has set this is what needs to happen. Each employee needs to do blank, blank, and blank. This isn't all just in sales. It could be any industry, any organization, okay? Achieve these tasks, right? And then receive recognition. Okay, great, feedback. Feedback sessions, recognition, whatever it happens to be. Hey, you're on target, you're doing well. Okay, thanks. This slide is slightly messed up, so I had to fast forward through it. Culture. These are the three things that you want to build. Culture, unity, and shared vision, okay? Culture, teamwork, celebrations, sense of purpose. Do your people know why they get out of bed in the morning? Have you built that kind of an organization? Are they really committed to it? Are they attached to your mission, vision, values? If so, we can work towards what Mariah spoke about over here, intrinsic motivation. If you have people who are intrinsically aligned with your organization's objectives, you are going to make waves. Seriously, you're going to do some amazing things. Unity, getting everybody together. We're all working from the same sheet of music, right? You're getting your task done so that I can get my task done. It's kind of a circle. Everybody relies on each other. Everybody's part of this team that's driving towards a specific objective. And of course, vision. You want to build winning teams. The vision is we are going to be the best at whatever it is that we do. It's every organization's goal, right? Whether you make car parts or whatever else. If I'm making car parts, I'll make the best car parts I can make. All right. Because if you can do these things, you'll have happy employees who are motivated, engaged, and inspired. And in turn, happy customers. Happy customers are respected, valued, and supported. They appreciate you. They're going to return to you with more business. They're aligned with your mission, vision, and values. That's what everybody's striving for. All right? Why gamification? How does this gamification nonsense fit in here? What does it have to do with anything? There's like badges and champagne bottles and what is that? Well, gamification does these things that we spoke about. It provides real-time recognition, enhances the awareness on goals, builds team spirit, and triggers the competitive instinct. Because friendly competition is really, really, really a great thing. It's a really great thing. But you got to do it the right way. All right. So recognition. Imagine if someone completes a sales task or any task. This can be used within design, marketing, any industry. They complete the task that's set for them, and then their face appears on TV screens throughout the office, along with details of what they completed, value, for instance, if it's sales, so who they sold to and what the value is, okay? So now we understand, oh, Mikey, cool, Mikey made a sale. It's kind of like the sales bell, but it's instant, it's real time, it's up on TVs. So in our office, it's connected to the CRM. And therefore, our salespeople find out that they made a sale because they hear their theme music play on the TV. And then they turn around. What's going on? Oh, Mikey made a sale. Cool. It's playing his Knight Rider or What Does the Fox Say or, you know, the A-Team soundtrack or whatever it is that you've got. You upload your personal soundtrack there and it plays. And I mean, we know exactly who completed what type of activity before we even look at the TV screens. But then we see it. And what do? Go up and give them a high five. Hey, nice sale, man. I know you've been working on that for a while. It's small. It's really small things. It's small stuff. But you know what? It makes all the difference in the world. Because you build a culture of people, it's peer-to-peer recognition. They understand each other, are motivated to help each other out. All right? So, of course, there's sales. And then there's exceeding your budget, for instance, exceeding your sales quota, by 20%. You reach 120% of your sales quota, maybe it deserves a special type of recognition. Maybe you made 3 sales in a day, maybe you made a sale before 9 a.m., maybe fill in the blank, whatever it is that you'd like to celebrate. We'll call these milestones. You want to celebrate a milestone? Champagne bottles popping on TV screens, or balloons floating up in the air. There's one that's like Vegas, and it's a slot machine, and the handle comes down, and it spins, and then it lines up to a certain badge. Do people care a lot about the badges and stuff? Not really. It's not about the badges. It's not about that stuff. It's about driving a human interaction. Oh, hey, I saw that you achieved a milestone. Because it puts it right there in front of you. You get it. Okay. It becomes a topic of conversation. Hey, you exceeded your budget this month, man. Nice. Oh, thanks. What about the Wall of Fame? Everybody's seen some of these. You know what's the problem with a lot of this stuff? In order to do all this, it takes a significant amount of time. So if you're a sales manager and you want to have the leaderboards and the data and all of these other things, I've spoken to some very good sales organizations who don't have SalesScreen. They have a fantastic sales process. I've sat down, chatted with their sales managers. Okay, how do you do it? They show me. They do pretty much all of the same stuff without the software. And I ask them, that's pretty amazing. How long does that take you? Average is about 10 to 12 hours per week that sales managers are spending on this stuff. Imagine freeing up 12 hours a week of your sales manager's time, or your whatever manager it happens to be, right? But what I'm going to get into more is that it's not about replacing the one-on-one recognition, it's about enhancing it. What if I want to have a one-on-one battle? Me and you, buddy. First one to make 2 sales. If you win, I'll buy you a beer. I win, you buy me a beer. Yeah, great, let's have a head-to-head competition. Okay. Great, so now we're motivated. All right, we got a little friendly competition between us. And what's it going to do? It's going to increase the activity within the system. Awareness. I'm not going to go through all these slides because there's a handful of them. But letting people understand exactly what's going on in real time, how you're doing. This would be dialer data for different call center systems. This is, for instance, a Volcano. So this is for customer queues, customer support, or whatever it happens to be. And if there are, say for instance, 10 available agents, then it's nice, calm, blue ocean, and there's palm trees and stuff on the screen. And everybody's like, okay, cool, it's going great. And then when there's only 3 available agents, for instance, the Volcano starts to shake a little bit, and there's smoke coming out of the top, the screen changes. And then when it's 0, there's actually an alarm that goes off, which of course you can turn off if you want. Because some offices are not a fan. And then of course, there's lava erupting out of the top of the volcano. So how does this stuff help? Well, a manager's job is to manage, but not to micromanage. If you can put stuff up on a TV and not have to have your managers going around, hey, we only have this many available agents. Hey, we only have this many available agents. Hey, we only have, great, we're all adults. We sit up on a TV. Great, we understand exactly how we're doing. We're aware of the goals. We're aware of how we're doing right now, so we can sort it. All right, this is like a company feed. Think of it almost sort of like a Facebook feed, but you see all of the details of sales offers, activity, meetings that are coming in through the system. And then, of course, you can like and comment them on stuff like that. This is last 10 sales. Really funny story. Just before I came here, we have a sales director. His name is Kim. And Kim's he's a good guy and a pretty competitive sales rep. And so they've had some competitions lately who can bring in closing different deals. And Kim completed the last 10 sales in a row within the company. So he walked up in front of the TV screen, and it's this same slide, and it says Kim, 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 all the way down. You bet he pulled out his phone, took a selfie, sent it to all the other sales reps. Check that out. Right? Do you think they got upset by it? Ha! No, not at all. They loved it. They're like, okay, Kim, game on. I get it. I understand. Awareness. This is if you're competing. This is how you did this year versus last year. You can understand your sense of progression. How you doing? Quarterly or monthly or whatever you set this on. Building skyscrapers. I'm going to fast forward through some of these a little bit. just awareness on goals, budget, how the company's doing. Tons of different slides to display stuff. This is, for instance, a sales competition. So if somebody completes a sale or activity, it can be whatever, a design and marketing task, right? Generate a new demo, okay? Generate a demo request. If I generate a demo request, I get to open a treasure chest. These all have question marks on them. I click on the treasure chest, and it kind of shakes, and there's design to it, and then it slowly opens up, and a gift pops out. And then I won a book or a bottle of wine or $100 or movie tickets, or we're a small startup company, so we do stuff like, fist bump. You get a fist bump from the CEO, or pat on the back, or, catered lunch for a day, or whatever it happens to be. These prizes don't have to be big. If you're in a really huge sales organization and you can be giving away iPhones and PlayStations, good for you, but not everybody's in that boat, right? It's more about the recognition than it is about giving these crazy gifts for the most part. People are more motivated by understanding that they're part of that culture. They're part of a fun, engaged culture than they are, oh yeah, great, I got an iPhone, that's cool. I'd rather love my job than have an iPhone. All right, here's another competition. You can see you start at the bottom in a Segway, right? So last place guy's driving a Segway, first place guy's in a Lamborghini, second place Ferrari, etc. It's just funny stuff, Why not have all the cars the same? Because why not make it fun? There's a street sweeper in there. I don't know who designed that and decided to put in street sweeper and forklift, but it's just this kind of funny stuff that you can see exactly what's going on. I've never been to a sales office, spoke to any of our customers where people were like, oh, but we don't like that because somebody's in last place. You don't have that kind of problem. I get asked that from time to time. Does it create division? Does it make people feel bad? Does it whatever? I've never, ever, in all of the customer interviews that I've had, heard an instance of someone being upset over this. They like it. And if you're that new rookie salesman or whatever it happens to be, when you do show up on the Wall of Fame or when you do move up into the Ferrari, you bet everybody sees that, they recognize it, and then they're like, okay, all right, he's on fire, great. Norwegian company, so we build cabins, right? Build a bunch of cabins, and you can see that at each percentage you're building more and more logs, and then you have a completed cabin at 100%. But one of our mottos is never stop at good enough when you can be great. So the competition doesn't stop at 100%. You hit 110%, there's a hot tub on the side of the cabin. 120%, there's a big truck in the driveway. And it goes up to like 200%. You can have this like cabin mansion that's really funny with these like hidden things, right? Just funny stuff, motivate people. All right, these are kind of more of the same, just different ways of running sales competitions that are not linear. Because the problem with sales competitions is that recognition is great, but if you do it in a way where it's always the same people, then it gets really boring. Right? If you run sales competitions as an organization over and over and again, but it's always Johnny, Jim, and Sally that win, you're going to be like, okay, I'm not really motivated. I'm not interested in this competition anymore. Throw in some chance variables, stuff like this. This is a time-based competition where when you complete an activity, the trophy goes in front of you, and you accumulate time as shown by the clocks on the bottom. And at the end of the day, week, month, whatever you run it for, whoever accumulated the most total time wins that competition, wins a bottle of wine or whatever it is that you're giving. Just different ways to spice it up, because part of building the culture is to have everyone in it participating and motivated. Is gamification effective? Well, it must be. 70% of Forbes Global 2000 companies are already using gamification in some form. Maybe it's for logistics, marketing. Gamification can be applied in many different ways because, as I said, it's all about defining objectives, setting a way to measure, measuring the progress, and then providing feedback and recognition. That's what it's all about. 48% engagement increase and 36% reduced turnover. This is from a recent Gartner study about gamification. There's, of course, many other statistics about, we've had customers who have increased their sales pipeline 300%, et cetera, et cetera. But since I'm low on time, I'm going to talk briefly about the benefits of software as a service. So why gamification? Why now? If all of this stuff, all these things, sales competitions and bells and whiteboards have been around, why is gamification all of a sudden such a big deal? Why is it suddenly a thing? Is it because the millennials? Or is it because something else? The reason is software as a service has unlocked the ability for us to connect these systems in real time, to make everything automatic. So now, if for instance, if I ring a sales bell and I work in London, do you think my colleagues in Oslo can hear it? Nah. If I connect my systems with cloud-based gamification and I make a sale in London, do you think I can make it show up on their TVs in Oslo if I want to? Oh yeah. Right? And then you're building cohesion across offices. How many organizations struggle because they have separated offices and they just can't build the right culture because it's all, this office is over here doing something and they're doing something else over here and we're not sure who's performing. Now you know. It's flexible. Not only is the system flexible, but flexibility in general is a huge value add to employees who are coming into the workforce. People want to be able to work from home, right? The majority of employees, I guarantee you, in the next 5 to 10 years, the flexibility to be able to work from home is going to be worth at least probably $5,000 to $10,000 in salary to them, maybe more. Now, what problem can you see with managers when employees are like, hey, I want to work from home? They're like, what are you going to do? What are you doing? Are you doing your laundry? Are you folding your socks? What are you doing while you're at home, having home office? Well, with the systems, it's connected, you know. Somebody finishes a phone call, it registers in the CRM, shows up on the TV screens, gets pushed to the mobile app. You know what your people are doing. You know if they're on task or not. It's easy. So you want to give your employees the ability to have flexible work schedules, work from home, stuff like that, but still have a, not micromanaging, but still an oversight. It's a clever way to do it. Timely. Save tons of reporting time. How many people back in the day were like entering all their information into spreadsheets and then uploading the spreadsheet into something else and then from there somewhere else? And when people ran sales competitions, even in the early 2000s, you know, they would create it in Excel spreadsheets and then they'd update it twice a day and then they'd email it to all the offices and hope the people actually read the email to see who's winning the sales competition. Not easy to motivate people that way. Throw it up on TV screens in real time. It's easy. All right, it's integrated with the CRMs, pulls all of the data directly from the CRM. The things that you're already recording, all of these KPIs that you already have are automatically pulled from the CRM, measured, and then shown up on TV screens. And of course the data. If I've got a whiteboard, all my data's on this whiteboard, do you think I can go back and track analytics, performance changes, metrics? Definitely not. If so, it's not a whiteboard I've seen before. With it here in the system, you can track, you can run sales competitions or whatever it happens to be, you can go back and track exactly the performance increases from the time you start the sales competition until the time it ends. You can see when people are increasing activity, how much the activity increased, et cetera, et cetera. The bottom line is we don't want to eliminate authentic recognition. We want to enhance it. We want to make companies that are really that ideal company of the future. Strong culture, cohesion, teamwork, recognition, awareness, all those things. So if we take what Mariah drew up here, let's think of these as 4 circles. All right, so you got these 4 circles, they're all interconnected. What happens if you can take and leverage all of these? What do you think happens in this area right here? It's your company culture. This is your motivated workforce. You do these things together, you're building the company of the future. How will you motivate the sales teams of the future? How are you going to do it? Are you going to use the whiteboard and the sales bell and send emails and be like, hey, nice job? Or what's it going to look like? The future millennial workforce, what's that going to look like? And of course, if you want a whole bunch more information, we just made a brand new infographic, 25 incredible stats on employee recognition that'll list things from Aberdeen Group and Gartner and all these other that talk about the importance of employee recognition. So what we're really getting at up here is that if you want to make an amazing workforce, everybody throws that word around, oh, culture, we want to build great company culture, we want to build great company culture. How do you do it? You do it by building intrinsic motivation within your people. Now, we listed a lot of stuff for intrinsic motivation, right? Passion and drive and excellence. And can you build that? Can you? Can you build intrinsic motivation within people? You can. If you build an excellent company that people are proud to work for, that recognizes their achievements, that celebrates them, that motivates them, will they be intrinsically motivated to do the tasks set for them? I think so. Sure seems like it so far.